Hello friends, my name is Rajat Dasgupta and this is the first video which I will be uploading on my channel. It's very new and there are a lot of things going in my mind, like whether the camera is fine or not. Am I speaking too fast or should I speak a little bit slow or not? Whether my microphones are audible or not, whether the sound quality is fine or not. There's so many things going on in my mind, honestly. So I would request you to have little patience. Eventually, I'll get over all these things because these are temporary. As I said, my name is Rajat Dasgupta and this channel I've opened mainly to share my journey, my spiritual journey with you. Now you might be thinking that, okay, there are so many people who are sharing the spiritual journey. What's so new about it? Why do I feel that it's something different? Is because, first of all, my interpretations have changed a lot since last few years. Though I have been searching for God since my childhood, honestly. I'll share my stories bit by bit. But since last few years, my thinking, my interpretations, my thought process has changed a lot. I'm not a saint. I'm a very simple person, very ordinary person, and I'm a seeker, which means I'm not qualified to be a guru. And I'm not here to teach anybody anything. What I think I can do is I can come up with few questions which can change your life, or otherwise which can help you in your journey greatly. This is what I feel. So I'll be talking about myself, in coming episodes. So for now, let us keep that thing aside. Now, why have I chosen the name like spiritual seekers? Let us focus on the word spiritual. Why I chose that? Why not, searching for God? That can be a question. The thing is, when you talk about God, that is actually synonymous to religion. Any religion, be it any kind of religion. So God actually is related to a religion, whereas spirituality has got no religion. Spirituality has no God, to be honest. There is a guru, a discipler, of course, in spirituality, but no God. You can consider your guru or your discipler as God, but that definition is a little bit different from the religious point of view. The way they consider, the religious people, they consider or they define who is God. That's a bit different. The main difference being spiritual and being religious is when you are religious, you go to God to fulfill your desire. Be it any kind of desire. It can be anything. Like you want to get good numbers in your exam, you go to God. You want to be healed, you go to God. you want to lessen your pain, you should go to God. You want to become successful in anything you desire, becoming a doctor, a teacher, getting a good job, securing your family, you go to God. Either you pray or you request or you depend, whatever you say, but you go to God. So that means being religious means manifestation of the self. Manifestation in the sense growing. Like you want to become a businessman, so you can grow in that field. You go to God. Okay? There are different techniques. But you depend on God. You rely on God. You pray to Him that give me success in my business. And you start eventually manifesting into that field. You want to become a doctor. You want to become a responsible husband or a father. You go to God. That give me this strength so that I can fight that war. I can protect my family. I can I can take responsibilities of my family members. So, for these kind of things, you go to God, and these are all fulfilling your desire, be it what. So, being religious means fulfilling your desire. Now, I do not want to get involved into whether having desire is good or bad, because that's completely a different story. There is nothing called good, there is nothing called bad. As long as your conscience is not suffering from any kind of guilt, to me that is good and bad. That defines good and bad. So having desires is not bad at all. But being religious means, according to me, is you want to fulfill your desire. Whereas being spiritual means complete annihilation of the self. Means there would be no I, there would be no myself, there would be no me. I do not want to take another birth. Again, you might be thinking, okay, this guy is talking about rebirth and reincarnation. No. I'm talking about rebirth, but not the way you think about it, or not in the way others explain it to you. I'm not talking about taking a rebirth with another physical body, be it of an animal or an insect or a human being. No. To me, you will have another birth, but that is completely psychic. That is psychological. How it happens, when it happens, I will explain that when we will talk about death. There can be, these concepts like Buddhism, they believe in reincarnation, but they believe. And what I'm saying is, from my knowledge, so their belief can be correct. I'm not denying that. But my knowing is different from what they believe. I know that there would be rebirth, but that is not in the physical form. That will be completely psychic. So we are keeping that part aside. Okay, we will discuss this when we talk about death. For now, you should realize that what is spirituality? Who should walk on this path? Spirituality is not for everyone. It is a very, very dangerous thing. Now, if you ask yourself, what is the difference between an animal and a human being? There can be many things. Animals do not have so many types of emotions a human being possesses. Okay, but again, the most important thing which comes into my mind is no other animal on earth, at least I don't know about any such animal or insect or whatever, who has the capability to commit suicide. Now, I'm not promoting that. I'm not supporting at all about committing suicide. Okay? And we will discuss this again. Please remind me through your comment, and I will discuss this, that why suicide in Hinduism is a sinful act. Because you surely go to hell. Now again you might be thinking that, okay, again this guy is talking about nonsense. He is again talking about hell and heaven. How he can prove it? Now I promise you this much, that I will prove you that there is hell and there is heaven. And I will provide you with suggestions also, which you can consult with any neurologist, good neurologist. Whatever I am telling you is correct or not. I'll prove that. There is hell, there is heaven. I know that. There is rebirth too. And I know that. But that's different from what has been explained till date by others. Like you would be thrown into hell, there would be fire, you would be burning for eternity, or you would go to heaven and remain there and enjoy everything. Not that at all. It's a different thing. So what we were discussing, it was like spirituality and the path of spirituality. So it is dangerous. Why? Because we are talking about, a kind of suicide. What do you mean by suicide? Suicide means end the self, right? But that happens on this material, with this materialistic body. We can end the functioning of this physical body. That is pathologically I'm talking about. That is suicide. And spirituality is ending the ID, the identity completely. The annihilation of the self. There will be no I. That is my goal. So if you want that path, you should realize that where you are going, where you are heading. This is a kind of warning. Because there are so many advertisements, so many promotions, propaganda nowadays, that people think that, okay, if I do this, if I do meditation, if I do healing of chakras and stuff like that, so many jargons which half the people do not even understand, and later on what they do is they dive into it and realize that, okay, this is not my path. By then you have already wasted so much time, and maybe at that point of time you have already caused harm to yourself, because your psyche completely changes. Once you follow the steps towards spirituality, you start getting detached from the materialistic world. And when you realize that, okay, this path actually leads me to complete annihilation, complete destruction of myself. It is like, in Christianity there is called leap of faith. It is very, very difficult. It is dangerous. That last leap of faith, I'm not talking about faith in terms of being religious, but it's the last step where it becomes very, very difficult for you to annihilate yourself. It is very difficult. And that is why moksha or liberation is so difficult. But again, we are humans. We are always interested in difficult things. We cannot do the simple things in our house. But we tend, or we are interested towards difficult things, as if I can achieve that difficult thing, in that case I would be able to satisfy my ego, and there will be so many people who would be able to satisfy me, and I'll become a hero. But spirituality is not becoming a hero or having powers through which people will make you a hero or a god man. That is not the path of spirituality. I guarantee you that. Spirituality is liberating yourself. In Bhagavad Gita, also it says, Krishna, say again, you might be thinking, say, okay, this guy is talking from religion. But again, religion is important. And there is no harm in it as long as we take the context, we take the right meaning of that, of those books or of those texts. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that you can meet me, provided you can forget about yourself. What does that mean exactly? A simple question. Forget thyself and you can meet me. What does that mean? Forget thyself. If I forget who am I, then what is left of me? So that means complete annihilation of the self. There is no me anymore. There is no I anymore. Only then you can be liberated. Only then you can achieve moksha. Simple words. Even Veda says that. People who wants to get moksha. Become spiritual, forget thyself, which means get ready to deny yourself. Denying myself means what? Denying myself means annihilation of the self, destruction of the self. I'm not talking about physically or forcefully, because these things cannot be done forcefully. Trust me. If you do anything out of nature, it is going to cause the opposite reaction. In the path of spirituality, you cannot implement force. It happens automatically. How? We will discuss about that later. For now, let us understand what is spirituality and for whom this path is made for. It is basically for those who wants to get liberated. Liberated means it's a very selfish act. You cannot help somebody else to get liberated. You cannot. That is impossible. You can guide him. But again, if you are trying to help someone to get liberated, that means you have already experienced that path, right or wrong? Now, if you have experienced how to liberate yourself, in that case, why will you be bothered about someone else, be it your son, daughter, wife, mother, father? Why? Forget about, the society and nation and the world. Forget about that. Because that is a very selfish act. And to do that, every second counts. I cannot get distracted for even a single second. Why? Why am I saying this as a selfish act? Because if I'm about to forget myself, then how can you expect me to love or to be affectionate towards my family members? They become secondary. First is I, right? So I am on the path where I want to destroy myself, my identity, my soul. So if that is my goal, rest, everything is secondary to me. Isn't it? Who is loving? I have a daughter of 10 years, but honestly speaking, who is loving? I, being a father, I'm attached to him, but again, first is myself. I love myself. If I cannot love myself, if I cannot respect myself, then I cannot love my daughter. I cannot respect her too. So if I'm talking about, you know, ending the I factor, then the first thing it demands is get detached from everything else. Even with your body, even with your hunger, even with your emotions, even with your desires. So when I am getting rid of all these things, then what is left of me? And after that, how I can become attached? Who is getting attached with the society? Who is getting attached with the family members? I. So if there is no I, then who can get attached with the family members? Who loves the family members? There is no I. So if there is no I, then how that person can get attached, or how that person or that nothing can do good to something? If there is nothing, how nothing can do good to something else or somebody else or to the society or to the world? So either this guy is faking, or he'll become a hermit. He'll go to a cave and spend time there. And I'm saying being selfish, that does not mean that I'm trying to degrade that, what you call, intention. Because we are nobody to judge. Let us think about the self. So if he wants to do that for himself, that's his choice. He doesn't want to have a luxurious bungalow. That is his choice. And at the same time, he doesn't want to suffer from diseases. That's his choice. If he doesn't want to become rich and neither he wants to become poor, that is his choice. What is wrong with that decision? There is nothing wrong in that decision. But the point here to be learned is that being on the spiritual path means you are doing it to end the self. So if someone is trying to end the self, spiritually talking, not physically, I'm not promoting that. Like physically or pathologically hurting myself. I do not support that. I'm not talking about that. I'm not encouraging that. Rather, I would say something important, which if you understand, you will never think about committing suicide anymore. I think that is important. I should share that right now. The thing is, in Hinduism, when you take a blessing, you touch some elderly person's feet, and that elderly person is supposed to give you blessing. And in that blessing, he or she says that, live for 100 years. Okay? I'm not using the Bengali or the Hindi word. I'm telling you the meaning of it. That have a life of 100 years. Okay? This is a blessing which I'm giving. Now, there is a key word hidden into it. Why this tradition is going into our culture? You need to ask that first. What is there left? Nowadays, many people consider it as a curse. That okay, I'll have to live for 110 years. That's a curse for me. But no. The key is hidden, as I said. And that's related to ending the self. Why? Because if a person dies, pathologically, what is death? How death happens, the process? Normal, not accidental. Normally, what happens is your heart stops. And heart, what it does is it circulates blood throughout your body, including the brain. When it stops, the blood circulation also stops. And your senses also get stopped. Nervous system I'm talking about. Okay? But the brain doesn't die instantly. It survives for at least 2 minutes to 20 minutes also. Now, during this time, there are a lot of chemicals within the brain which are released. I mean, like, there are a lot of chemicals which are released inside your brain, and thereby the brain becomes too much active. And you, for an example, I'm telling you, it goes into a certain stage where you live like a dream state, but it is not a dream. It becomes very, very vivid, as if, like, you are now looking into the video. So it's like that. It's if this is 100% real, then that experience would be 500% real. Trust me. That is what I call rebirth. That there would be an experience which your brain will go through. It's like inside a movie hall, okay? When you are watching a movie, if it's a scary movie, you experience hell, right? Or if you do not like blood and there is too much bloodshed in that movie, then what happens? You somehow, by nature you reject it. So that is like you are living in hell, as if. The same thing happens with the brain, and that is related to karma, and that is related to your imagination. Now, karma in English is basically an activity, a verb. Okay, verb means a doing word. What is a verb? A doing word. Okay, so karma means when you do something, an activity. Now, many people think that, okay, karma means activity, so if I am drinking water, that is a karma. If I am beating someone, that is a karma. But they ignore this part, that if psychologically I am beating someone, if psychologically I am cursing someone, that is also a karma. So we'll talk about that later. So the brain actually experiences a movie-like scenario, and if the movie is good, you start living in heaven. And if the movie is bad, you start living in hell. You start experiencing hell. Now, what problem is, in your sleep, many of us has felt like this, that, okay, a tiger is chasing you, you are running very fast, but no matter how fast you are running, you are not able to even move, a few steps also, and the tiger is closing by, nearing, and then suddenly you wake up, okay, or you are falling in your dream. You are doing something, and then after that, what happens is you are falling, and then suddenly you wake up. Why? Because of instinct. That something is going beyond your your acceptance. The physical body cannot accept that much of pressure or tension. So that is why it is actually pushing a lot of hormones inside your body, and instantly you wake up. But for a dying person whose heart has stopped, for that particular person, he'll not get a second opportunity to wake up. He'll have to experience it. Now tell me, if you find that someone is coming towards you with a knife and there is no escape route, don't you think that is a kind of hell? So that is exactly what people experiences, and that is what the texts, any religious text you talk about, they talk about this experience, because the brain does not die instantly when the heart stops. Now coming back to the previous topic, why I started talking about death. It is about suicide. So, as I said, like the elders bless the younger ones with 100 or 110 years of life. Why? Because the more you get old, the decay time of the brain becomes very fast. And if a person dies at a very young age, In that case, the brain takes more time to decay. Based on that, as I was saying, that when the heart stops, the brain survives from 2 minutes to 20 minutes also. Now, why this 2 minutes to 20 minutes? Why is this difference? This difference happens due to age factor, due to the strength, the stamina, the energy, the vitality which your body still holds. For an elderly person who is 100, 110 years or 99 years old, for that physical body, the brain decays very fast. So for him, this entire thing is for 2 minutes. This, whatever goes on inside the brain after death, is 2 minutes. Again, there is another trait. When we discuss about time, we will talk about that. Because you think that, oh, it's 2 minutes, not a big deal. But over there is nothing called time. That is why religious book says eternity, applies the word eternity. You would be thrown into hell for eternity. Eternity means, because this brain, for the doctor, for the relatives of that patient or for the dying person, 2 minutes is based on the watch. It's a time made by us. But for that dying brain, that 2 minutes can be equal to 200,000 years of experience. So, this is the reason why committing suicide is a sinful act. Because if you commit suicide, in that case, first of all, you would be dying in a horrible manner, which the brain cannot process. And of course, this experience in your brain will go on and on and on and on. And let me tell you very clearly that you cannot lie to your brain. That is another factor. You cannot deceive your brain. Your brain will ask you that why you did this. What do you want? Couldn't you have done something else? Was it mandatory for you? And it will come back to the topic of ego. And it will make you feel guilty. And then you will realize that, okay, I wasted everything. But there is no other way. So it will become a torture for you. That is why suicide is against any law, against any religious book. Nobody supposed that. Even I am against it. But I just shared with you why. We will talk about this see, you are my viewers. If you ask me to talk about any particular subject for a little bit more, if I get relevant questions, I will surely try and explain you. And I hope that, I have planned that, people who are very, very interested about these kind of things, I'll take them into a conversation. It's not on messaging or chatting or email, not like that. We will record a video 101 on these topics and discuss. And I can be wrong, but provided you can prove me wrong, I am ready to accept it. As far as I know, till this much, I'm not wrong. And I'm not telling you based on any kind of books. First, I have experienced it. Then I have tried to analyze that what exactly happened with me. I have never tried to commit suicide though. But same that kind of thing also happens when you go into samadhi. Samadhi means deep meditation. The same kind of thing also happens with people who has experienced ND, near-death experience. So there are a lot of ways how a person can identify these factors. So it's not important how I have known about these things, but it is important that what I'm telling you, it is based on my own experience. And then I've tried to judge them or analyze them, that what actually happened. Are they an illusion, hallucination? What does the medical science say about it? What does the religious textbooks talk about it? And things like that. So again, we have come a long way from, naming of my channel, which is Spiritual Seeker, and the difference between spirituality and being religious. I'm so sorry. But I thought there are a few things which are very important which I should say, otherwise people might take it in a different way, people might get influenced in a different way, which I don't want. If I cannot do anything good to someone, at least I should not do anything bad to someone else also, whether you like it or not. I'm sorry again that we got distracted. As I say, there are so many things which I want to share. So as I was saying, being spiritual means complete annihilation of the self, which means destroying the self, not physically, but psychologically. That is spirituality, the path of spirituality. It is not about touching the feet of God. Spirituality is not that. Because in spirituality, when you go into deep meditation, at one point of time, you will realize that, okay, there is no me. Fine. Now, what? Okay, there is nothing. Complete nothingness. So I want to meet God, for example. Now, always remember, there are two things in our body. One is Atma, the other is Paramatma. Okay? One is the soul and the other one is super soul, you can say, or our guru, or our teacher, or our God, self, I'm talking about. So there is always someone who at that point of time will ask you that why you are talking about God? What do you want from Him? Now if I ask you, what do you want from God? Now you are dead. In deep samadhi means you are dead. So why you want God? What do you want from Him? You want to become alive. Take a deep breath. How will you recognize God? If a picture appears in front of you, out of your imagination, how will you know that that person, that imaginary, what you call, being is God, not the devil? So many questions will arise in your mind. So people who are on the spiritual path, they do not look for God. They do not search for anything, rather. They want to go for nothingness. And that is exactly what is called meditation. What others teach you nowadays is not meditation, that is concentration. You have a problem, you put pressure on your brain, focus, concentrate, find out the answer and manifest. Improve, excel. That is concentration, that is not meditation. Meditation means switching off the television. If you switch off the television, what happens? It's a black screen. There is no picture, nothingness. Of course, that comes through practice. So that is meditation. Nothing else apart from that. And what people teach you about in the name of meditation nowadays is basically concentration. That is also important. I'm not denying that fact. But do not say that that is meditation. When you are focusing, say for example, you have a problem in your life. And people say that, why don't you meditate? That is not meditation. Rather use the word, why don't you concentrate? That means what? Forget about everything else. Just focus on your problem. First ask, okay, I have this problem. Say, for example, I am unable to see. That's a big problem. Why don't you meditate? Do not use the word meditate. Use the word concentrate. Why don't you concentrate? Sit in one place, in the posture of meditation, and concentrate. That, okay, I am not able to see. What will I do? What should I do? Go to the doctor? No, I have already visited 2 doctors. Okay, why don't you take a consultation from the third one? Okay, fine, I'll do that. But again, if that doctor also says that there is no other way out, I'll become blind, then what will I do? What will you do? What do you think you can do? Do you think everything will stop for you? Will you stop living? No, I cannot commit suicide. Then what you are going to do? I'll have to continue living. Then find out the solution. How will you continue to live? Learn Braille. Braille is the language. Those who lose their eyesight, they read books and texts with the help of Braille. Learn that. But that will be tough. There is no other option. Okay, now you came to a solution. That what is my, even if I lose my eyesight, Braille is my last resort. So, that is not meditation, you are concentrating. I'm just giving you an example. So, again, being spiritual and being religious. Please be patient with me. So I have repeated what is spirituality multiple times. I don't want to repeat it again. What is being religious? Being religious means manifestation of the self. I want to become a doctor. I want to become an engineer. I want to become a responsible husband. I want to become a responsible father. I want to become a responsible citizen. I want to do my job properly. Okay, I want to lose my pain. Okay, I want to resolve the issues in my life. Any kind of desire, you go to God, and God means a religion. So, please choose wisely which path you want to follow. The second difference between religion and spirituality is, when you follow a religion, you need to follow few rules, without which you will not be considered as a religious person of that religion. That means there are few obligations which are imposed on you by the society or by that community. When you declare yourself that I belong to this particular religion, then that community of the same religion will try to impose multiple rules and laws and conditions onto you. Has to be there. Okay? Many will say that no, there is nothing as such, all you will have to do is believe in him. But that is also an obligation. You'll have to believe in him. The moment a doubt comes in your mind, you will be out of the community. Or people will say that, okay, he's crazy. Because religion is made for an individual to be included in a society. Basically, religion is for a healthy society. Because when religions were created, any religion you talk about, at that point of time, there were no governments, there was no democracy. Okay? So, the guidelines of a society were created by the religious people. So that was basically to contain the society. But in spirituality, there is no one to tell you that do this, do that, you should do this, you should do that, you should not do this, you should not do that. No. For a hermit who is living in a cave, who will come to that person to dictate? And he is already out of the society by then. Human civilization, I mean. So there is no obligation implied on him. But he still follows discipline. Now, who creates this discipline? It's the conscience. My daughter is 10 years old. So to make her understand about this conscience subject, I give her an example that in your brain, there are two plants. One is a good plant, one is a bad plant. The good plant will always guide you, and the bad plant will always try to make you get attracted towards happiness and other things. Happiness is not a bad thing. But again, greed, of course, that causes damage to you. So, bottom line is, I gave two colors. One is black plant, one is pink plant. It is up to you whether you listen to the black plant or to the pink plant. You want to have ice cream, you will always see, because you sing. My daughter is learning how to sing. Okay, so and she loves ice cream also. So I tell her that, see, your pink plant will always tell you that do not consume ice cream because you will suffer. You will not be able to sing. You will have problems in your throat. Okay, so the pink plant will always tell you that, but the black plant will say that, okay, doesn't matter. When it will happen, will happen. Let me right now enjoy the taste of ice cream. Now I am telling you this to explain conscience. Okay? There are two things, or three things rather. Basically, bottom line is, we are after all not a saint by birth. We are all animals by birth. We are controlled by instincts, animal instincts. Even right now also, in our daily life, 80% is based on our instincts. Okay? So basically we are animals. What makes us different from an animal or animal characteristic is the conscience. So the animal brain, the reptilian brain, which is this reptilian brain, what is its function? I'm not again cursing that, okay? That is important part of the body. Without that, we will not be able to survive. But that is an animal instinct, okay? If we listen to that thing, then there will be no difference between a human being and a crow or a tiger or a lion. If you listen to this, then there will be no, a person will look like a person, but he can act like a pig, or a dog, or an elephant, or a tiger, or a crow. Okay? If we encourage this reptilian brain too much. Now, who controls this reptilian brain? The conscience. The conscience always guides you, always tells you that you should not do this. Of course, you can say that, the teachings of our parents plays a big role. The education system plays a big role. The society plays a big role. The religion we belong to plays a big role in developing this conscience. That is fine, I accept that. But bottom line is, we have a conscience. And this reptilian brain or the animal instinct is controlled by this conscience which we have. It will always tell you what is correct and what is not correct. Not correct in the sense, incorrect for the society? No, I'm not talking about that. Incorrect for the self, because you will feel guilty and you will suffer. That is why it stops you, or at least tells you, don't do it, stop. That is why when you get into an argument, when you get into a fight, maybe you are hitting someone, okay? But still, at one point of time, you will realize, no, I should stop now. Or I should not hit this person in this particular area. Otherwise, something will happen to that person which I'll have to regret later. Now, who is telling you this? Animals do not have that kind of thing. Humans do. I'm talking about a real life fight, a street fight. Even in a street fight, you will never intend to kill someone. Now, who is stopping you from killing that person? This conscience. Yes, you can argue that, okay, the logic, my brain will come up with logics that, okay, if you kill someone, in that case, you will go to jail. But those are secondary. Because your brain is not thinking at all when you are in a street fight. Forget about the rest, logic side. But the conscience would be alive. No matter how deep you get carried away with your emotions, your instincts, your conscience will tell you when to stop, not to proceed farther, not to proceed beyond. No matter who tells you what, don't go beyond this. So that creates the difference between, that helps us to become human. That's the first thing, okay? And then there is a super conscience. Super conscience is what? That comes later. That acts like a guru. Okay? So we'll come to that part later. So as I was saying, that for a person who is spiritual, who is on the spiritual journey, path of spirituality, for him there is no obligation from the society, no obligation from the religious people or the community, nothing like that. But still, he remains disciplined. He follows few things in his day-to-day life. Whatever period, he does that. And thereby, I'm telling you, that he is still obligated, not by some external influence, but from something within, that you should do this, you should not do this. So there's a difference between that. And which is more tough? On the spiritual path, listening to the conscience is more tough. Because in the society, say for example, too much of sleeping is also sin. Sleeping, I mean. Okay? Or telling lies is a sin. But how many of us follows that? Unless I am proved that I am a liar, I will always say that no, whatever I am saying is true. My conscience knows that you are lying. So I can do that, and we are doing for the sake of survival. Okay? So you can disobey those commandments also, which is implemented upon you by the society, by the community, by the religious people. Because until and unless you are proved otherwise, who cares? You can do that. So there is, leniency. But when you are living alone and you are trying to self-discipline, implement discipline onto yourself, that no, I will have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay? There is no watch. It's a tough deal. It's a tough deal because there is no watch, there is no one to wake you up. You cannot ask help from someone that, okay, if I'm sleeping at 3 o'clock, please wake me up. You cannot do that for a spiritual person. So that is more tougher. So the second difference is that when you are on the religious path, you are supposed to follow few guidelines or obligations or rules or laws or regulations which is imposed upon you by some external source. But on the spiritual path, there is no one to bother you, but still you will have to remain disciplined. You cannot deceive your conscience, which is much more tougher. Okay, too much of willpower, too much of sacrifice, lot of things are required. So now what happens is, I have already discussed about this for an hour now. I'm not sure whether to continue any longer or not. But again, let me make it fast from here, okay? So, no more talking about spirituality, because as I said, like from the last few years, something happened to me, and I am on the spiritual journey, not trying to find God anymore. Okay, I know there is God, there is importance of God. Okay, I also know that how the concept of God works in our life, which is important. Okay, but again, I'm a little bit on a different path right now. I'm neither an atheist nor a theist, you can say. Okay, because these words are applicable for religious people, not for spiritual people. Okay, that is what I think. Again. And the preachers of God, even they don't know who God is. They preach about God, but they don't know who God is. What are they talking about? They are just like parrots. They have learned few things from the textbook, and they are trying to hold on to those logics, those concepts, and try to spread them. And whoever questions those ideology, they become Satans. A simple thing, very simple thing. To me, both are important. Theist and atheist, both are important for me, because both are important in life. To achieve spirituality, both are important, provided you do not stop seeking. That is the key word, seeking, questioning. The day you stop questioning, you are good for nothing. But as long as you are questioning, whether you are an atheist or you are a theist, doesn't matter. As long as you are questioning something, okay, you will, rest assured, you will land up on the path of spirituality at one point of time in your life. And from there you will again, carry on. Now, as I was saying, theist and atheist. So what happens is, when you implement few rules and regulations onto somebody, they follow it, because they realize that if I don't follow it, then my desires will not get fulfilled, because that is the demand of that text. That is what that religion demands from me. So I'll have to follow it. Only then my desires are going to get fulfilled. So there is always a carrot hanging in front of you. You do this, you follow this, and then you will get this. And that is the reason I've joined that club, because I want that. Okay? Pardon my language. But nowadays it's like club, no? There are people in India who are charging more than 25,000 rupees, 30,000 rupees for one session, because they provide you with better environment, they provide you with food which are catered by people who are professionals, who has done their masters or hotel managements. They serve you food, you get neat and clean, bedrooms and things like that. And that is why they charge you 25,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees. So it's kind of like a club nowadays. Who can make bigger contribution, that person gets better priority. It's not open to all. If you do not have money, then most of these people are close to you. You will not be able to meet them. They will say that, okay, I need to charge this amount of money because I have so many members in my ashram or in my organization whom I'll have to take care of. So again, what is the difference between running a business? A business has got employees, and you have got, volunteers. At least the business is paying tax to the government. You are not doing that also. And to the volunteers you are saying, no, you cannot do this, you cannot do that. Half the day you will have to fast and stuff like that. Only then you will be able to achieve God, because you are a volunteer. But for the sake of these volunteers, I am charging 25,000, 30,000. Okay, I am an enlightened person, and that is why I am charging for 50,000 rupees from an individual for one session. One session means 15 days course. You will become enlightened, or you will get relief from certain kind of psychological disorders or psychological knots, and things like that. So what's the difference? Some says that, okay, I'm trying to feed others. What is this feed others? In Bible it says that, a bird doesn't go to sleep empty stomach, because God is there to take care of that bird also. Then who are you to take care or say that, okay, I'm trying to feed so many other people? Don't you believe in God? What is your God doing if He is not feeding so many poor people? And if you are doing, that is fine. But do not attach the word, spirituality with those such kind of things. You say that, okay, I am an NGO, okay, non-profitable organization. We do charity work, taking care of. Do not attach God or religion or spirituality with such kind of activity. I love feeding people. That is why I'm taking money from one group and I'm feeding the poor. That is fine. I will always go along with you. But when you say that, no, I'm a spiritual person and I will teach you provided you give me 50,000 rupees for 15 days, and when I question you, you say that, okay, this 50,000 I need to feed the poor. Then what? If you don't you think that it's contradicting somewhere? That is why I use the word club. Though not everybody falls under this umbrella, but nowadays glamour has become a part of religion. The more glamorous a godman is, people goes to him and they are ready to spend any amount of money, because that again gives these kind of people publicity and tax reductions and things like that. So it's a network which goes on and on and on. But why I'm saying this, I'll tell you. Why I'm against this. At one point of time, I was really searching for someone to speak to. As I said, from the last few years, I've become spiritual. Okay, and whatever I also say that first I experienced it, and then I analyzed based on different textbooks, from different, by speaking to multiple doctors and knowledgeable people who are experts in their zone, and thereby I could add 2 plus 2, that what is this, what happened to me, whether that is a hallucination or an illusion or just a trick of mind or things like that. I had to clarify those things. So before that I experienced it, and then I seriously needed someone to talk to, a spiritual person. And then I tried to search for someone, and I realized that none of the doors are open to me. Whoever so-called godmans are, whom you can find on Google, who are available on Google search, none of them are available to you. Some are not available because of their ranking, because of their hierarchy, and some of them are not available because of financial factor. So even if I need someone desperately, I have no one to help me. And these are the people who are ready to discuss with anyone who is giving them 50,000 rupees about spirituality. And they do not hesitate saying that, okay, I am running business. What is wrong with that? There is something severely wrong in that. Because there is a difference between spirituality, religion, and business. If you are saying that I am doing business, then immediately convert your business type from a non-profitable organization into a business organization and start paying tax to the government. On one side, on one hand, you say that, okay, what's wrong in doing business if I am doing business? And on the other hand, you are taking the money under an organization's name which is registered as a non-profitable organization who is supposed to do charity works. Then don't you think that you are contradicting somewhere? You are doing good for the society. Then do good for the society, keeping spirituality aside. helping dogs, street dogs, or trying to help out old cows. Those cows, they have nowhere else to go apart from the butcher house. These are NGOs, they are providing shelter to those animals. They are not doing that in the name of spirituality. They are doing that because they love that work. And that is their motto. And that is their, taglines, that we want to help these animals, please help us so that we can take care of these animals. They are not saying that, okay, you come to me for the sake of spirituality and pay me 50,000, which I am going to spend behind other things. Anyways, please pardon me. But you can say that I was really disappointed, and from that disappointment, I am saying these things. Anyways, only time will judge that whether something is seriously wrong or not. I can be wrong. I don't know, but I feel like this. And that is why I thought of expressing myself. Absolutely personal. These are my personal views. So I think it's getting too long on this subject. So the thing is, being religious is good if you have a lot of desires, or at least one desire to get fulfilled. You follow the path of religion. Okay, you follow the path of God. Okay, but if you have deeper questions that who is God, who created me, and things like that, to know them also, first you need to go through different texts, at least get qualified. Okay, and then eventually those gates will open to you. But first, time will take your test, that whether you have the zeal to find those answers or not. Here there is no one to take your test. Only time is there who is going to take your test. That whether this question is really genuine to you or not, whether this question or desire for the answers are really there in you or not, only time will judge you. Judge you means take your test. Okay? And you'll have to qualify, you'll have to pass in those tests. And then those doors will automatically open in front of you. But do not fall for someone's word and start doing some activity and try to think that, okay, I'll become something great. You will not be able to. Okay? Please understand. You will not be able to. If that would have been that easy, instead of 5 godmen, you would have seen like godmen in every neighbor. That does not happen. I hope you understand what I mean. So many enlightened beings around us. That does not happen. Okay? There are a lot of promises. If those promises are supposedly getting fulfilled, in that case, just imagine so many people getting enlightened. Okay? Not in 5 days, but at least 5 years, 10 years. I don't see such kind of people, honestly. Okay? But again, I'm positive about it. There are a lot of people who are searching for that genuinely. And this channel is basically for them. To actually discard the old explanations, which are just jargons, which are just meaningless words, which does not actually are useful in our practical life. Let's keep them aside. Let's start thinking about what our ancient texts are trying to tell us. Okay, that is the only way out. That is what I feel. At least for myself, at least for my own soul, I think that that is the only way that I should listen to those books at least. I know that those books are also, full of impurities because of time. There are a lot of things which has been edited, added, and things like that. Um, I don't want to take any name of any particular book, but again, uh, you know, you will find your answers. You will find your answers if that zeal is in you. So, since I am on the spiritual path, that is the reason I kept my channel's name as, the spiritual seekers. I'm not a very religious person, okay, but I support religions. The good thing about religion is that is the first step, like ABCD, that is the first step towards spirituality, okay. That is why I like religion. This is something which is positive. And the negative thing about religion is, trying to manipulate someone with my own understanding and towards my own faith. That is something wrong. That is the negative thing of religion. And that is the reason why there is so much chaos in everywhere throughout the world. Okay. So we do not want any more chaos. Please. Let us try to rethink. Now, why I'm saying? See, the thing is, there are people tries to identify the differences. Say, for example, between Christianity and Hinduism. You will find 99% people would eagerly try to find out the difference between these two religions. And a Christian will say that my religion is good, and a Hindu will say that my religion is good. But I hardly find people, trying to come onto the common ground and accept the truth. Say, for example, Christianity started with Jesus Christ. Now, Jesus Christ, the first thing what it says is, meditated for 40 or 41 days. The Bible says that. Don't you think this is a common element between Hinduism and Christianity? That Jesus meditated, this word itself is the common ground for both the religions. Who taught Jesus about meditation? Someone spiritual. And as I said earlier, spiritual people do not belong to any religion, because they already know what is God. So, question is, who taught Jesus about meditation? And the same thing is applicable in Vedas. The rishis or the scientists at that point of time, they meditated and they wrote down their experiences and their conclusions about one particular topic. So they also meditated. Here Jesus also meditated. And after meditation, Jesus got enlightened. And from there, Christianity started. So why don't we find out the common grounds? Rather than fighting with each other, why can't we accept these common grounds? There can be a lot of differences. You know that. I also know that. Not required. Everyone knows that. What does it? Does it really make any difference? You will say that my father is the best. I will say that my father is the best. Let's say that we keep on arguing. do you really think that it will change the situation? Do you really think that from the core of my heart I'll say that, okay, my dad is a loser, your dad is a better person? Or vice versa? Do you think that will ever happen? No. It can happen that, okay, I'll go silent because maybe I'm not able to argue with you based on your logic. Maybe I'm not that intelligent. But deep inside, I will always be my dad's son. I love him, no matter what you say or how you try to manipulate me or how you try to defeat me with your logics. So there is no point fighting by the end of the day. If you want to fight, fight. Your choice. You want to win? You want to become a winner? You want to boost your ego more? Do it. More chaos? Already happening? Won't change anything. Let us try to find out the common grounds, provided you are an open-minded person. And I can promise you that I can show you 10, let's say 10 points. I can show you 10 similarities between Hinduism and Christianity. The core basics. But some other day. So today basically it was an introductory part of mine. I wanted to talk about why I created this channel and why I kept the word spirituality while naming my channel, and why not religious. I wanted to give you a little bit idea about the difference between religion, a religious person and spirituality. I tried to warn you that why the path of spirituality should be considered after too much of caution. Okay, why it is risky, why it is dangerous, and which path leads to where. Like, if you go to God, you will be able to manifest one part of you, fulfill one desire of you, means you'll be able to grow one part of you. So that is something good about it. So now you think about it, that whether you really want to be a spiritual person or you are looking for powers. If you are looking for powers, then go for any kind of religion or religious practices. Try them. If you gain those powers, that will satisfy your ego for a certain period of time. Then again, after that, when you keep on seeking, searching, you will come back to the path of spirituality. But then you will be a matured seeker, a matured spiritual person, which is ultimately good for all of us. So both the paths are good, but don't jump into anything without knowing that subject, without knowing the end of that path, that what you're going to gain out of that path. So I'm only interested for those people who are spiritual seekers. Okay, if you are religious, fine with me. If you have questions, please write down in the comment section. I will improve myself, because I'm not reading out from any particular book or any anything. I'm not prepared anything from where I can read out something and point by point I can explain it to you in a very short frame of time. So that is not happening right now. It will come into me. I know that. That is in my nature. But right now there are so many things. I find endless topics to discuss with you. So please write me questions. If you write me questions, then I will surely dedicate one particular video based on that particular topic without moving here and there. Right now I do not have any specific topic, so that is why I just you can understand. So if you have found any interest, please give it a like. It doesn't really matter though, but yes, of course, like, share, subscribe, things like that. It will help me indirectly to maintain a balance towards my responsibility, to fulfill my responsibility towards my family, and also it will help me to balance, to fulfill my responsibility towards my viewers, towards the society. So cunningly I say that. But anyways, do as you like, but stay with me. Whether you subscribe doesn't matter, whether you like doesn't matter, whether you dislike, please, if you dislike, please do let me know why you dislike, because I will be able to rectify myself. At least I'll try, genuinely. Okay, so for today, I have spent a little bit of time. I don't know the rest. Let's meet tomorrow.